So hi everybody and welcome back. This is Unreal Engine 5 full game tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 67 and in this video we continue with our gameplay, and in our last video you can see we made this warm sound system. We finished this one, and now in this video I want to make a warm sequence, and that was this thing what I showed you in my last video where I said we want to indicate that when we hear the sound that the worm is coming, but not only hear it, but we make here a sequence where I make this movement here from the worm, which comes closer and closer every time we are moving. So the worm is locating our waves, step waves, and then he will move all time towards it. And in this video I want create a sequence, a camera movement sequence, and this is normally a little bit more complicated, but we use a very simple way to do it because you can make it a little bit better or very simple. In this video I show you the simple version, and the simple version is very easy to do. But before we do the simple version, I make you a showcase how it can look like. It is not perfect. It's not perfect. It is. I made it just.
I have to use the lighter.
I made it just here for test purposes, and this light is not there normally. I need a light because the sequencer, if you are recording with the sequencer, you need light, and if you are using only something like black like this one, it will record nothing. It is just too black. So we have to think about this one later too when we are creating the sequence. But for this, but before we go there, we have to learn to use the sequencer, right? So, and here I go in and I demonstrate, and you can see there is a part where my sequencer will start that will be activated with the trigger box where the sound comes. Okay, you can see the movement is wrong, but that was the sequence.
What was that?
So that was the sequence, but you already saw the movement was wrong, right? I make this offline. That was just for test purposes anyway. And now we go into this one. And like I said, we make a very simple sequence. And on the website, I will link this as well. Here is that what we create. You can see it's for beginners, very easy sequence basics. It is the create camera animation, and that's all we need. But later I will add perhaps a worm mesh 2. Perhaps we won't see the worm or just the camera movement. We will see what's easier. But what in this video I want to create this one, what they do, and you can see it's very easy. We make just a camera and then we move the camera, and that's it, you see, and that's very easy. I link this to also in the description. So let's get started. The next thing, the first thing what we need is just create a level sequence, and here on top you can see this drop down menu. I already have one, that's why here is already one. This is that what it is. So let me open this one up, press F11, and my level sequence is anywhere there. That's the point light, it's not it. LS level sequence, this is the one which I already created. And you have to just click on this one, click here, the first one. You can see here's a master sequence if you want go a little bit at once, but we make a very simple one like I said. So we choose the first one at level sequence, then you choose the folder. That was my test folder, but now I make a better one. So with other words, we create a new folder. Let's call this level sequence or a sequencer or whatever you like. I call it level sequence. Level sequence. I open this up, and here in the level sequence I will create this level sequencer. I short it with LS for level sequence underscore, and I say here worm sequence. Worm sequence with for sound. Scream. So all time when you hear this worm scream, the sequence can include it one time, but perhaps also more times, because we don't want all time see the worm sequence. We want to see it as an indicator that the worm is coming one time, but we will see. So after that you created this one, you can see that this pop-up menu here, the sequence menu, what you can see here on the bottom is popping up. It's empty, and when you press F11, this is the one which you created. I have here two, that was the one which I created before, but when you click on this one, you should have now here in the outliner this one sequence. So now what you have to do is very simple. You go here. Here are many options. Most we skip because I said we make a very simple sequence. And I want to make a camera sequence. You can see that is that camera sequence. And the camera sequence is very easy to do because here is already a camera symbol. And when you click on this camera symbol, that's all you need almost to start with. And now we have just to set up some settings. What you have to know is now here you see here options. We can skip almost all again. That's nice because that's why it's so simple. But important is what you can do. So when I move here around, this camera, what I just use is a free camera. What we need is the camera which will record our scene here, right? And to do so, we have here now here in this option menu here down two cameras. The one, it's called camera cuts. This one we are not using. And the other one here, it's called Cine Camera Actor. And if you click now on this camera, this one will be locked. So now it's not locked. So you can see it is not highlighted. But when I click it, it's highlighted and it looks like more a little bit more like a movie. You can see we have here black borders here. And important is it says here also on the left side pilot active. And pilot active means, let me click this away again to show you. You can see this here. This is the camera. And when we click this one, you become here this camera, and then you can position this camera where you want. So with other words, we have to position this camera at the start to the start position. So again, how we make it? So first of all, we go here and click this camera. So we become this camera here. You can see now I'm this camera. Here is this highlighted. And now I have to go to the start position. And like I said, my worm will come up from far behind there. But for this purpose, I start from here so that I will make this offline, but I will show you how only just to create it. Let's say my worm is just coming from here just for fun, and we can make it from below. But careful, when you make something from below, there is no light. And I said, if there is no light, this will record nothing. So you can see here, I put below the scene also lights, and this worked. So let me start here just for fun. In this case, from below, let's say here I put some lights below the scene, some point lights, and you can see it's bad. Some of them are bad, which means I deselect this one here perhaps. This looks bad. This looks bad. And how you do point lights below, it's very easy. You can go here on top to add, and here are basics. You can light, and you can see here's a point light, for example. Normally you add them not below the scene, but in our case, it would be dark, so I have to add this below the scene. And the symbol here, it's red because I already added here and they are overlapping, and that's why it says bad. But so you can add, for example, and this is just for test purposes. And okay, now back to our camera. You can see I'm flying with the camera, and this is the position which I will record. The first thing is start position. So I say, okay, I start here, and then I want a worm comes here, and let's say assume I stay here, that the worm comes here out, and let's say he's killing me then. But we make not the kill animation, we make just the move animation, which means yeah, we are just moving from here to here in this position. So first we start with what? Yes, the start position. The start position is, let's say, here. Here I want start from this point. Let's go here. Yes. Or we can start a little bit here. Let's start here. And this, what you see here, will be recorded. But again, these lights are here only because below the the screen there are not lights, and it will record nothing when you have lights. In my case, it's even above no light because I have no lights also on top, so it will record also on top nothing. And that what you see right now, it is just unlit mode. So this is the thing what it will record. You can see on top I have also no light, so careful about this one. You have later check what you have on light sources, and then it works. So yes, I go here to this mode just to set. So we are here the start point. Light is very important, but let's say you have set up the light. Let's say you found your perfect start position. Then you stop here. Then you go back to this panel here. And then you go here down where it says transform. And important is now this thing here, this red that's red here, movable setter here, must be at start at position 0, because this is your start position. And then you move to your position where it is. So first you set normally not your camera. That's very important. Normally you set first this position here. So you start with this position, and then you set your start position. So in my case, it's here. And then after you got this one, so you got this both, then you go here to this section where it says transform, and you see this transform is connected to this camera component which we created. And this camera component has in the middle so a circle. When you click on it, this red thing here, you will see it will make a key. So let's click on it. You can see now this is a key, and key means the camera has stored all the information of this transform. And when you open up this transform, let's open this up, you can see it stored the location where this camera is now. It stored the rotation, so it's pointing this way, and the scale and so on. And we don't need to set this separate. Of course, if you want to manipulate it a little bit more, you can do this. But in my case, like I said, I make now a very simple one. I just set here the transform with all automatically location and so on. And now, very important, the next thing is you move not the camera first, you move first this red selector here to the end position where you want. And here starts a little bit getting complicated, because now you have to calculate the seconds. So it says here on top, this one here, 30 FPS. Of course, you can change this like you want, but let's keep this for test purposes on 30 FPS. 30 FPS means 30 frames per second, and we are interested in seconds because we can calculate with seconds a little bit better, at least me. And then you can see here is our frames, right? So we have here 0 frames. We have here a little bit more frames and so on. Here's in 30 frames. So you can see these are 30 frames, and 30 frames is 1 second, right? So this part here is 1 second. This part is 2 seconds, and 90 is 3 seconds. So you can try to calculate the time. And this is very important, because later when you start moving your camera, if you make it to less time, then it will go fast to the position, and if you go too slow, it will go slow to the position. But there is a new thing which I will show you later as well. We can even change the rate, but let's try to make it at start right. So let's say how I can calculate the distance here. Very easy, just count the time in seconds. So let's start moving. 1, 2, and 3. And that was setting up this camera speed, by the way. Of course, you can set this camera speed here also slower. But 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so 3, 4 seconds, 4, also I counted to 4, right? So 3, 4 was it anything. And then you can say, okay, from this position, let's say 4 seconds, and let's say 3 seconds, just so that I don't have. So 3 seconds was my 90 FPS, right? This 90 here. 90 is 3 seconds. We calculated because 1 second is 30 and 90 are 3 seconds. And then you can just adjust this one. You want just here. this one here. This is your max length, let's say so. And then, very important again, this one you set first to the position, the end position. Now, this is the end position, right? First, here, this one on the bottom, you go to the end position. And now you move the camera to the end position because I already counted and my end position is here. And here I have also a light because my scene has no light. So that was just for test purposes. And let's assume I stay here. Again, after you positioned your camera to the end position, let's say, like I said, my end position is here. Or let's make it here. And then you go again here down to transform. You click here on this circle. Again, it sets the transform. And now when you go back, you can already see what happens here. This one you can test so, or you go here to the start and go here to this buttons here. You can then just play it and see how your camera will work. This is already the scene what I wanted. So you can see it's very easy, very simple. And of course you have to keep a little bit of thinking about lights. Of course you have here millions other settings which you can do. But like I said, we don't dive. We won't make just a little sequence. Of course you can make a sequence for different kind of things. This one is in gameplay sequence, but you can also make a start sequence, a trailer sequence. There are millions reasons what you can do, but this was just to show you you can do this. So, and now we have created it, and I want to show you again one nice thing here. Let's say you have problem with calculating this line here, because that can happen a lot. Let's say this was too fast or too slow. And there is a track which you can add. Here is a track which can change the speed of this one. So you can set this, and I want to show you how you do this because this can help a lot. So again, the first thing what you do is bring this setter here at the start position, because we want start from here. Then you go, or you can change this setter else, so where you want, you must not start here, but I want change here, let's say the whole speed in the same level. That's why I make here a start point again. Then I go here to the track, and the name which we need is time dilation track, right? And then you click this one. Again, this time dilation track has here options and so, but important is here this one here, this number here, and again the circle. So at first what you do again, you set this one should be at the start position. And let's say I want this one slower. And you can see the standard value is 1.0. And let's say I want half as slow. That was much too fast. But most time it's too fast. Or you can make it faster. Depends. And this time dilation is, by the way, really cool, because with this one you can even make matrix effects. Matrix effect, you will know how the Kano was doing this slow motion bullet avoidance sequence. That was really cool, and you can do something like that with this too. You must just set it very slow. I want to demonstrate you this. Let's say I want a speed of 2. That's very slow. And important is, after you set this 2, you put again here this circle, and you can see it makes a gray frame. And now very important is, if you want make it the whole sequence, you go to the end again, first with the setter. This is the end. Then you make here again as a point, you can see a key, and again you write here the same number. So this one starts here and this one ends here with the same number, and during the whole thing it will be now slowed by the factor here which you set here, right? That's very important. If you have here a different factor, for example, let's say you start here with 0.2 and you set the last one to, instead of slower, let's say you make it faster to 2, then the sequence become slow, first slow and then faster, and very fast at the end. So this value, but this you can test a little bit around. And now when I go here to the start point, let's jump here. We can here go to the start, and here you can play. You can see now it's very slow. Do you see that? Now I have slowed it by this factor. You can experiment now with this one if you like this more or not. And because sometimes you want just adjust the sequence. In my case, that was probably too slow. Let's go here back to just for fun. I don't know it. This one I put to 6 and this one I put also to 0.6. I think this is still okay. I hope so. Yeah, that's okay. Slower than before, but it's okay. So very important. That's it what you need. And then you just save it. Here, you can go out of the pilot if you want, but you can stay. Important is you save this. Now, the question is, okay, we can go out. How you can go out? Very easy. You click this one. The question is, okay, now I'm out. How I can go in? Very easy. You go. There are 2 ways to go in. One way is just find your folder, which you create, in my case here. Then you can click this one. It will open up this one. And the next way is you have probably place this folder which you have here. Let's go here again. In your scene, it is automatically placed here, which means I should find here ls, a second one. You can see the test one was test. That was this one, and then you select this one and press F4. It jumps directly to it. And the next thing is what I have to talk is how we can use it. Right? So when you select this one which you created, it is selected now, then go into details panel, and there is something like a autoplay. You can make this for test purposes. Click it. When you start play, this one will start. But in my case, I don't want autoplay because that's a problem, right? So you can see I want start this sequence exactly when my character here is overlapping with this collision box where the scream starts, right? That was our scream sound. And then I want indicate with the sequence, worm sequence, that the worm is coming. So that the player knows, oh God, there is coming something for him. And he must think and react how he can avoid this and so on. And important is for us, so that was the background information. And now how I make this. So I have to activate this one here when I overlap this collision box. And with Sequencer you will find online many examples where they use the level sequence, but we will not use the level sequence because level sequence makes sometimes problems to get access, and many people have problems. But in general, if you want to use the level sequence, no problem. In my case, we don't use the level sequence. Which and the reason why they use here the level sequence, what I careful, level sequencer is something different than level sequence. What I mean with level sequence is where is the level sequence, by the way? Here, open level blueprint. Sorry, level sequence. I called it level sequence. I mean, most people use the level blueprint to access the sequencer, and the reason for that is very simple, because like I said, the sequencer is most time placed here in the level, right? And most people say then okay, and most time it's okay, right? I mean, depends on your game. If you have nothing complicated and you want just activate it at start or end or just make simple things, then you can do this exactly what they do. Is here is the level sequence, you select it and you can just drag and drop and you have a reference. And that's the reason why they like level or level blueprint, because you can make here a very simple reference and then you can use it. But we have a problem. Like I said, I don't want to use the level sequence because I want to use it in my blueprint when I overlap this one. This is a little bit more thinking, and that's I show you now how to use that. And how to use that is, again, I go first to the place where I overlap with this box, and I talked already about this box, right? That was there where we set up our sound. And you can see we set up our sound here. I changed this. That was the last videos. Here was the sound. This is the new thing. And here is the sound what I said in the last video. And the new thing is now here I want activate when the screen comes this level sequence. And how we make it? We use a very nice node here, which I learned also, which is possible. First I thought you have to make a reference, but no, there is a special node which can play sequences, and this is the thing which we need. And this one is just right here, create. You have to find the right place, in my case where the sound comes. So create, and what is the name? Create level sequence, probably. Create a level sequence player. This one here, you need this player. It creates this player. Then you need selecting the sequence which you created. So in case this was my testing, this is the new one. Let's select this one. And now very important is this one is just creating the level sequence player. This is not playing the level sequence. So we have to go out of this one and write play sequence. And here you can see here are many options again. And we need here this play and sequence player, because this play here refers to the sequence player here. You select this and then it pops up these two things here, right? And important is then here that you connect this here, this input here, with the out actor of this sequence player. This is the setup which you need. And then of course to the right place. In my case, that was, like I said before, you are colliding with this collision box, the sound comes, and I want now that this player sequence is coming too at the same time and showing that the worm is coming. That is our setup. Okay, if you have, it's very easy to use the sequence player. And by the way, just check before this one again, select your sequence. And it should not autoplay. This autoplay is most time for testing, or if you want when you are starting a level that it plays at level start most time. If you don't want that, which we are using, then you use something like that one. All right. So with that said, we can test this now. In my case, I have to change here now this one to the new one. This is now the new sequence. And now, again, don't forget, if you make something a dark map like me without light, it will not work, because it is just recording what it can see. If these lights which I have here are just for test purposes, later I have to think if I just make a worm with light, so that when he's moving, that I just record the worm. Because there are no lights in my scene. Just keep this in mind. Without light, it will not record anything. So with that said, we can test this. So let's start and see.
Let's see if I find this card.
So I go. Let's see what happens.
It's dark. I have to use
okay,
the
let's
lighter.
try to find the lighter. Is this popping up here? No, it's not popping up. You're not. Oops, where is that? Okay, it's here. Let's have the lighter. Okay, this light, like I said, there is no light normally. But this one I will delete. It was just for test purposes. So now the sequence will start when I collide with the box. The box is here anywhere. Let's go in, and the sound is also here. Let's see if I can hear the sound. The sound is... And you can see, and of course we have...
What was that?
You can see it worked, and of course that must be adjusted. And this one I make offline. But you see, you can make a sequence, a gameplay sequence. This is very nice. But like I said, normally many use it not for gameplays. The most people use this more for trailers, or when start trailers or something like that. Or yeah, but I think that's... enough for this video. That was just to show how you can use sequence very easy and include in your gameplay, which looks later cool, but right now you see we have to optimize this. This takes I make this offline, and you can test and experiment it, and of course you can go here to advanced and so on, but it will work. and it's not difficult, it's very easy. With that said, if you have any questions or anything you like to ask, like all time, ask in the comment sections. And see you in the next video, and have fun, don't give up, and bye.